Oh, to be young, gifted, and Black. The quote first said by Lorraine Hansberry in 1964. That has been popularized by prominent Black figures like Chadwick Boseman in his speech given at the 25th Annual SAG-AFTRA Awards, and Nina Simone in her song, To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. In America, to be young, gifted, and Black is to feel isolated. It's to be ostracized by your peers and your teachers simply because you are Black. Now, this feeling is one that I am no stranger to. When I was younger, I felt like I had to have absolutely everything figured out. I wondered about who I was, what my purpose was, what I was going to do with my life, and how I was going to get there. I questioned why I was put in this world. And in school, I got some guidance by learning about Black figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Jackie Robinson, but I just kept learning about the same people on a loop. And doing that can lead people to feel as though they are confined to the path of those. When I was younger, my mom always told me that you can be anything you want to be in the world. But when I looked, I never saw people who looked like me doing the things that I wanted to do. So I felt like I was back at square one until I decided to start my search, till I decided to get rid of my ignorance and learn about the people who have come before me, who have allowed me to stand here today. In 8th grade, I had to do a women's history project, and I found Pat Parker. She was a Black poet from the 70s, and her writings really resonated with me as I could see myself in her poetry. When I completed this project, I felt more inspired to learn about myself and my roots. And in my research, I found Audre Lorde. Audre Lorde was another poet. She was another author and poet whose writings dealt with themes of racism, culture, love, discrimination, sexuality, and the power of poetry. The first quote that I heard from her was, "Your silence will not protect you." Hearing this quote really empowered me to take charge through my writing. And it really showed me that it doesn't always take big feats to change the world. Sometimes all you need is a pen and paper. Hearing about Audre Lorde and researching about her made me more interested in this path of Black writers. And through that path, I found James Baldwin. But James Baldwin was another writer. His work still dealt with themes of masculinity, sexuality, race, and class. Now, I first interacted with James Baldwin in my AP African American Studies class when I heard the quote, "To be Black and conscious in America is to be in a constant state of rage." When I first heard this quote, it didn't leave my mind for days as I contemplated what it meant to me. Eventually, I realized that it was true. I am angry. I'm angry at the way that my people have been treated for years, not the way that I have been treated simply for being Black. But I also realized that anger does not have to be destructive. Anger can be constructive and instructive, and it all depends on what you choose to do with your emotions. Now, I think that James Baldwin utilized this a lot in his writings, and it's something that I want to do in my writings. I want to make people feel the way that he made me feel when he wrote. Now, as much as I love writing, I realized that it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. In my APES class last year, I was first introduced to the true role that politicians have on the world. My mom always told me that if you want a system to change, there has to be work done from the inside. This combined with my interest in so many topics and issues made me realize that politics was what I wanted to go into. And when I realized this and I liked the sound of Senator Christie, I decided to do more research on the people who allow me to one day have my own office in Capitol Hill. And one person I found was Hiram Rhodes. Hiram Rhodes was the first Black senator to be elected to the United States Congress. He was a senator from Mississippi, but his road to Congress wasn't an easy one. On his first day in office, white senators tried to block him from taking his rightful spot at Capitol Hill by making the claim that he hadn't been a U.S. citizen for the required 9 years. He stood up for himself and said that even though he had only gotten his citizenship with the passage of the 14th Amendment, he had as much of a right to be there as any of the other senators. He stood up for himself in the way that he stood up for his constituents. And I say all of this to, my point in discussing all of this is that inspiration can be found anywhere and everywhere. There are so many people who have lived on this earth, who have partially paved the path for you and me, who are simply waiting for you to continue their legacy. As a person of color in America, it is never easy to find where you belong, but you do belong. And sometimes you have to search for that. It's not enough to just accept the circumstances that you are given. You have to rise above what is thought of you and veer off the path that has been set for you in order to achieve the greatness that your soul longs to achieve. There are many Black innovators who are still alive today who can help you do this. And Mark Dean says that that there may be obstacles, but there are no limits. And Susan L. Taylor expands on this by saying that whatever we believe about ourselves and our ability comes true. Garrett Morgan says that you should try to be the best. And Rita Dove says that instead of just complaining, you should do something about your complaints. All of these Black innovators have stood where I stand and are maybe in the same headspace that you are in, but they have risen above that. They have made their own paths, and they are now sitting here as CEOs and authors and poets and everything that we want to be. Innovation expands to more than just simple science. It is a change that people make on the world. Now ask yourselves, what path do I want to take? Who do I want to be remembered as? And who can I look to who has done what I want to do? As James Baldwin says, you have to decide who you are and force the world to deal with you, not with its idea of you. Thank you.